My name is Deb Prince, and I'm an elder from the East Stroudsburg Presbyterian Church and the fourth member of the merger team. As we prepare to share quite a bit of information with all of you, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, today is just a first reading of the plan of merger and all the exhibits. Our goal for today is to share an overview of the plan and seek any preliminary feedback and reactions to the plan. Our hope is that following our meeting today, you will carefully review the plan in its entirety. If you then have any questions, concerns, or suggested changes, you are invited to send them to either of our stated clerks, Mike Drake or Scott DeCaro, by March the 21st. All suggestions will be reviewed and considered by the merger team before our next assembly. At that in-person assembly on May 3rd, a second reading and vote on the plan of merger and all the related exhibits will take place. As we present the plan of merger today, we ask that you look for places and ways in the plan where you see the hopes that surface for you show up in our presentation.
The Leadership Vision Team in Lackawanna Presbytery and the Administrative Board in Lehigh Presbytery voted last fall to pursue what is called a surviving, dissolving corporation for several reasons. One of them is this type of merger is less costly and time-consuming, as it does not require us to create a new nonprofit. Another reason is the new presbytery can keep the surviving corporation's tax ID number, and once the merger is complete and filed with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, all we will need to do is change the name of the surviving corporation. Additionally, both presbyteries will become one entity named Mountain Laurel Presbytery. Both leadership boards also voted to recommend that Lehigh Presbytery be the surviving corporation. Again, note that the name will be changed once the merger is official to Mountain Laurel Presbytery.
Now let me offer a bit of brief explanation of what is included in each of the exhibits that are included in the merger documents. Exhibit A includes the proposed bylaws for Mountain Laurel Presbytery. No doubt some of you will enjoy reading these, while others of you may see it as run-on verbiage, but it is required for all corporations. When you look at exhibits B through E, you will see that all the minister members, ruling elders elected by their sessions to be commissioners, commissioned ruling elders, and commissioned pastors currently listed in Lackawanna Presbytery will become members of Lehigh Presbytery without being re-examined. Once the name is changed, all of these categories become members of Mountain Laurel Presbytery. Exhibit F is a list of Lackawanna congregations who will also become members of Lehigh, and then once the name changed to Mountain Laurel Presbytery. All real and personal property of Lackawanna will become the property of Lehigh until the name is changed. Exhibit G was already approved at the November 9th, 2024 Presbytery Assembly, and Exhibits H and I outline the proposed committee and staffing structure for Mountain Laurel Presbytery. We want to take a closer look at these exhibits since they include a lot of the practical implications of our merger.
Martha and I will now share with you an overview of the proposed committee and staffing structure for Mountain Laurel Presbytery. You're going to find the details of all of this in Exhibit H in the meeting documents. As a merger team considered what committee structure would be best for our new presbytery, we identified a few guidelines for this task. First, this structure is intended to be a starting point as a new presbytery is birthed. This structure, it will be evaluated along the way and changed as needed. Living into the merger will require flexibility and the willingness to be nimble and creative. Other guidelines for our shaping of a new structure include it being centralized and simplified, lean and effective, right-sized, and shaped by our historic Presbyterian connectionalism. The proposed structure seeks to be vision-driven, with that vision set at the Presbytery Council level so that everything we do flows from that vision. Think of the Presbytery Council as the session of the Presbytery. This also suggests that we cannot and should not seek to be all things for all people. We need to be realistic in our capabilities. Every effort will be made to have balanced representation in the Presbytery Council and committees, especially from the two former presbyteries in the first few years of the life of the new presbytery.
One significant change from our current leadership model is a shift in the responsibilities of the presbytery moderator, vice moderator, and past moderator, creating an intentional flow of knowledge and support to the presbytery. The vice moderator will chair a new committee, the Incarnational and Empowerment Committee, that will focus on vision for the presbytery. Then, ordinarily, the next year, the vice moderator serves as moderator of the presbytery, as well as the Presbytery Council, helping to enact that vision. Then the following year, as past moderator, that person will chair the Shared Gifts Committee, our version of a nominating committee. Having had the experience of working with a variety of people, the latter enables the person to guide a process that focuses on enacting the vision and matching people's energy to serve in areas, as well as their interest in them, to help the vision and the work of the presbytery.
Let's take a look at the proposed Presbytery Council. The goal for the council in this proposal is for it to be the body coordinating the presbytery's vision and ministry. Council will empower and commission committees to do tasks, have decision-making power, and to analyze their impact with the committees accountable to council. The council will serve as the trustees of the presbytery. The corporate officers will include the presbytery moderator serving as the president of the corporation. The stated clerk will serve as a corporate secretary, and the presbytery treasurer will also be the treasurer for the corporation. There will be 8 members of the council. First, the presbytery moderator, who will chair the council. The presbytery vice moderator, who will chair the Incarnation and Empowerment Committee. The presbytery past moderator, who will also chair the Shared Gifts Committee. And then 5 more members who are the chairs of the remaining committees: Budget and Finance, Church Orders, Personnel, Property and Resource, Technology and Communication. Additionally, the 4 members of the presbytery staff will serve as ex officio members.
Now let's take a look at the committees of the proposed Presbytery Council, beginning with Budget and Finance Committee. And as you would expect, this committee is charged with the oversight of the finances of the presbytery, including per capita receipts, reports to the assembly, investments, payments of grants, and recommending an annual budget. The committee will have 6 members. Like each of the other committees, the members will serve in staggered 3-year terms, with a third of the committee rotating off each year. Members can serve a second term and then must rotate off the committee for at least 1 year. These terms of service and rotation will be the same for most of the committees in a proposed structure, so please keep in mind, since we will not repeat it each of the times with the committees.
The Church Orders Committee combines the Book of Order requirements for the Committee on Ministry and Committee on Preparation for Ministry. This includes creating and providing training for commissioned ruling elders, opportunities for education and nurture for clergy and commissioned ruling elders, maintaining a structure of individual connections with each church in the presbytery, and administering the Emmons Scholarship. This committee will have 18 members. Acknowledging that the responsibilities of this committee are many, it will be led by co-chairs and will establish subcommittees and/or regions to carry out their responsibilities.
The Incarnation and Empowerment Committee will be responsible for casting a vision for the presbytery that drives everything the presbytery does. They will recommend an annual theme for the presbytery's work and ministry that helps us live into that vision. They will also administer and award designated grant funds held by the presbytery. This committee will have 7 members, including the presbytery vice moderator.
The next committee is the Personnel Committee. As you would expect, this committee will oversee all matters related to presbytery staff members, including their responsibilities, performance, and compensation. This committee will have 6 members.
A new committee will be the Property and Resource Committee. They will be responsible for assisting us as needed, congregations with property and finance issues, and overseeing church property sales and loans, insurance, deeds, leases, and church financial investments. This committee will also resource and train administrative commissions tasked with dissolving or dismissing a congregation. 6 members will serve on this committee.
The final committee of the Presbytery Council is another new committee, the Technology and Communications Committee. It will be responsible for ensuring technological resources are in place for any virtual or hybrid presbytery assembly, creating a communication plan for the presbytery that helps in keeping congregations and minister members of the presbytery regularly informed on the life and ministry of the presbytery, supporting and assisting the office administrator in carrying out the communication plan, and providing technology advice and technical assistance to congregations. This committee will have 3 members.
The proposed structure also includes 2 additional committees. These committees are of the presbytery, not the Presbytery Council, and are required by the Book of Order. They are the Shared Gift Committee and the Permanent Judicial Commission. The Shared Gift Committee will fulfill the responsibility of a nominating committee and the Committee on Representation for the presbytery. Its work will be driven by a commitment to identifying and nominating individuals who are gifted and called to serve the presbytery as officers, committee members, and commissioners to Synod and General Assembly and other leadership needs as appropriate. This committee will have 7 members, including the past moderator of the presbytery, who will serve as the chairperson. The Permanent Judicial Commission will fulfill the requirement outlined in the Book of Order and will have 9 members serving in 3 classes of 6 years each, with each class as equal as possible in size, and with one class completing its term every 2 years. No more than 1 ruling elder from any constituent congregation can serve in the same term, and members cannot be reelected to serve until 2 years have elapsed after their expired 6-year term.
Over the years, a variety of officers and staff have been responsible for planning our 4 presbytery assemblies each year. Our recommendation is for that responsibility to fall to the people serving in these positions in the presbytery: General Presbyter, Office Administrator, Presbytery Moderator, Presbytery Vice Moderator, Presbytery Past Moderator, Representative from the host congregation, and the stated clerk.
Finally, the proposed plan for merger includes a 4-member staff, a general presbyter, office administrator, stated clerk, and treasurer. The treasurer is a part-time paid staff position, and the other 3 are full-time paid staff positions.
While all of the exhibits from the merger team include a lot of work and detail, we want to be clear that our work is not finished. After today's assembly, the merger team will shift our focus to some of the detailed steps for implementing the plan for merger. One of those steps will include a recommendation for smooth transition of leadership from current committee membership to staffing the new structure. This recommendation will answer practical questions such as who will continue to serve on these committees and in what class, and who will serve as a chairperson.
One of the questions that we have already been asked is, how many people will it require to fully staff this new structure? At first glance, it might appear that it will require more than the current structure of both existing presbyteries, something that we know has been a challenge in recent years for both nominating committees. This proposal will actually require less people to populate the committees. Currently, between the 2 presbyteries, 100 people are needed to fully staff the structures. The new structure needs 62 individuals. Now, that still is quite a few people, and we're aware of that. So another thing that the merger team will focus on in the coming weeks is a plan to help us reframe our understanding of the role of the various committees and the people who serve on them. Rather than viewing the leadership needs as positions to be filled, we will seek to reorient our thinking to these being opportunities for members of Mountain Laurel Presbytery to identify their God-given gifts and God's call to them to serve in this unique way. We will also seek to refresh our understanding of what it means to be a connectional church in our common ministry of sharing the good news of Jesus Christ within the geographical boundaries soon to be known as Mountain Laurel Presbytery. For example, there will be 66 congregations in our new presbytery. If we identify one person gifted and called in each of those churches to serve in a leadership role in our new presbytery, we'll be able to bring this plan for merger from a proposal to a reality. Just think of the witness that will be to the love of Christ in our communities and the support that we'll be able to offer to one another as partners in ministry.
I'm Denise Pass, the teaching elder member of Lackawanna Presbytery and the shared general presbyter of both of our current presbyteries. The merger team has invited me to review with you what else needs to be accomplished and a timeline for that to take place. A copy of this timeline was included in the documents for this assembly and is titled Merger Timeline. By March 21st of this year, you are invited to review the plan for merger more thoroughly and send any feedback, questions, and concerns to either of our stated clerks, Scott DeCaro or Mike Drake. By April 15th, the merger team will review all the feedback received and consider recommendations for changes based on your comments. These will be sent to the Joint Administrative Board and Leadership Vision Team, who will approve a final version of the plan for merger. By April 21st, that final version of the plan of merger with changes from the first reading and the approved resolution will be sent back out to the presbyteries in preparation for their second reading and vote at the May 3rd Assembly meeting. On May 3rd, the second reading and vote to approve the plan of merger will take place. There will still be an opportunity to make changes to the plan at the May Presbytery Assembly following Robert's Rules of Order for amending and approving changes. During the summer of 2025, the merger team, shared gifts, combined committees, and stated clerks will formalize a plan for identifying individuals called and gifted to serve in the new committee structure, which will begin in 2026. The Synod of the Trinity will continue to review our plan of merger, and at one of their meetings between May and October of this year, they will vote to approve the merger of our two presbyteries and then forward that resolution to the General Assembly Administrative Commission on Mid-Councils for their approval. We hope that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's approval will happen not long after that. At our November 8th, 2025 Combined Presbytery Assembly, we plan to celebrate the merger, even if we're awaiting final approval from the General Assembly or the Commonwealth. We are commissioning a hymn to mark the formation of Mountain Laurel Presbytery for us to use within our congregations and at future presbytery assemblies. And by January 1st, 2026, we expect that Mountain Laurel Presbytery will be officially formed. I invite you to take note of these dates and put them in your calendar and watch for news from the presbytery as these future events occur.
Finally, Karen Kinney has been our merger coordinator throughout this process. Her last day with us is February 28th. And on behalf of the merger team, I want to express our appreciation and gratitude to her. She has worked many thankless hours guiding us, nudging us, and helping us to vision and see beyond what we have always done in the past to see what God is calling us to do in our midst and in the future. Stephen, Jean, Deb, and I are the ones you often see up front talking and trying to explain this process. But Karen is the one behind the scenes, helping us to vision and see, and often has the work that goes unseen by many people. So we wanted to say thank you to her for her mission and her ministry. But going forward, Stephen and I will be the ones serving as co-chairs for the team and hopefully answering all of your questions. But Madam Moderator and Mr. Moderator, this concludes our presentation. And while all feedback, questions, or recommendations are to be sent to either of the stated clerks following the meeting, the merger team would be glad to answer questions for clarification at this time. We are not looking at this point to kind of debate the issues or kind of answer. We're looking to answer questions for clarification, not to discuss the finer points of how many people should be serving on a committee. Thank you.